Hi, I'm Michael Cohn from Advanced Tubular Technologies. I'm the developer of VTube Step and VTube Laser software that can import solid models of tubes and build bender data. It can also measure tube shapes, qualify tube shapes, and correct tube benders automatically. What I've added in this latest version of VTube is the ability to make a distinction between tube sizes and NPS, or nominal pipe sizes. The two are different. Pipes and tubes are technically not the same, and so we have different standards for each, and so I wanted to allow for them, especially in the case where we have applications like shipbuilding that use a lot of nominal pipe sizes or NPS values in order to designate their pipe sizes rather than tube sizes. So what I've added here at the bottom of the part setup menu in both VTube Step and VTube Laser would be rows 42, 43, and 44 that show the NPS, NPS centerline radius, and NPS D of bend. And the way VTube is set up by default now is that when you click on any one of these fields, it will automatically take you to a table that allows you then to select a combination of pipe sizes, tube sizes, ODs, CLRs, walls, IDs, etc., and all to a material spec with a selection name. So the selection name itself will be unique for every row, ideally, because you're going to be able to search through that. For example, if you said, I would like to find something that has NPS 2 in it, we have two selections available for NPS 2, and you can find them like this. And then once you select the row that you're interested in using, like this one right here, let's say I wanted to use NPS 2 with a CLR of 6 Schedule 80 pipe, then I'm going to go ahead and copy that into the part setup. It'll fill in the NPS value here, the NPS CLR, and the NPS D of bend. If you move up, there's also a corresponding diameter and a corresponding radius, okay? So now we can go into master tube, for example, and we can copy the radius across, and we can, when we redraw that part, we're going to see the part with that new setup, material, valid pipe size setup. So I'm going to go back to part setup, and I'm going to click here, and we have 3 rows at the end of this grid that show NA here, like this. NA not available or not applicable for NPS. So not available would mean that these values are 0. So whenever NPS is set to a value other than 0, then this is going to change from NA to that value. But if it's 0, it's going to show not applicable like this, or not available. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to just know that this is a tube. For example, I could say I really want to use tube, this particular tube. I want it to be 3/4 inch with a 2.25 inch centerline radius. And it fills that information in for you. So you can see here we have NA. It's not applicable. Let's go up to the top here, and we have diameter of 0.75. And down here we should have 2.25 as the radius. Let's go to master tube now and synchronize the radius. Hit F2, you can see now that we've got the white tube here as the nominal master tube with the correct radius set up automatically. Now, it's not possible when you're in this mode and you just click on one of these fields and show this grid, it's not possible to edit this grid. And that's by design. There's another place where this grid will show up where you can edit the values, and that would be inside system options like this. Go to the new tab called Global Lists, click on Edit Valid Tube and Pipe Size Selection Table button, and here you can now modify these. So for example, let's say you wanted this to be a 1-inch pipe, then you can do this. You can actually edit these values. And you can edit the material spec in any cell in here except the grayed out cell of the ID. The ID cell is the inner diameter, and it is a cell that is calculated. Now, another thing that we've added is the ability for VTube to show the NPS values inside a report. So let me go ahead and just click on this. I'm going to call this into part setup, and now we're going to go to reports, and the NPS report template is part of the install, and you can see here it shows NPS values, NPS CLR, NPS D of bend, etc. Okay, and it can show the ID, which is new now. It never could do that in previous versions. Another thing that I should show is a little helpful tip. Let's say that you want to start using that valid tube and pipe size selection table. you can, even if you're just entering a diameter, you can double click now. Anytime you double click on the diameter cell like this, it's going to bring this table up for you. So you can just double click on this cell and it automatically fills in the values like that. So we've just changed the diameter of this part to this 13/16 part. So let's go ahead and change it back to this. And now we've increased it to 2.75. So that's a little trick to know. In system options, we have added this checkbox right here, require use of valid tube and pipe size selection for NPS and part setup, which means if you uncheck this, then you can go into the NPS fields and edit them manually, which for some customers is not desirable because they want the operators to only select the combination of values in any one of the rows in order to completely set up part setup. So I'm going to go ahead and close this now and leave that checked. That's checked by default in the new version of VTube. So those are the new additions for NPS, NPS CLR, and NPS DFBend in VTube. And if you want to start using the valid tube and pipe selection table, then you can. What you do is you go into system options and you configure it there. And then you, of course, when you're exiting system options, it's going to save that for you globally, which means it's available in all projects. So when you start a new project, you can use it over and over. If you decide that you want to use NPS as well, then you can, of course, furnish those values inside that configuration table inside system options. But once you get outside here, you just have access to this table without it being configurable, which is by design. If you have any questions about this new table or this new feature, please feel free to email me at michael.cohn@advancedtubular.com. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Have a great day.